22 with the Taurus M85, 38 special, holds 5 rounds. We're going to do the normal 5-plate knockdown course that we usually use with full size. So at 10 yards, we're going to try to hit the 5 plates, and that's the entire capacity for this. So if I manage to hit all 5 plates with a gun I'm not really used to, the hostage target's over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to Barney Fife this. If anybody remembers the Andy Taylor show, Deputy Barney Fife, Don Knotts, was given 1 bullet that he got to carry in a shirt pocket in case of emergency. I don't have any shirt pockets, but I have 1 bullet. So we're going to put that in a pocket. And if I can hit all 5, you'll watch me do a slow motion change, since I don't have a speed loader for this. And we'll put 1 round in and try to take out the hostage target, the Taurus M85. And now, Deputy Fife, this one's for you.
I like revolvers normally. I'm normally pretty good at shooting them. Let's see how I do this time around. I've got 4 bowling pins and 1 can of soda. Unfortunately, there's only 5 rounds in this, so if I don't shoot Annie Oakley style, I'm out of luck. Or maybe Dan will be nice and let me reload and try some more. So here we go. I'm not even going to say what I was aiming for. Let's just say it worked.
Picked up a 7-10 split without actually hitting anything.
I can't do that in the bowling alley.
Round for the soda can.
Yay! Un momento, por favor.
This is going to be one of those action movies where the guy jumps out with a 6-shooter and puts 17 rounds into the bad guy.
Yeah.
What you don't see is the guy off camera reloading the pistol.
That's what I'm talking about.
We went out on the range with this little thing, and I have to tell you, it was not what I thought it was going to be. It really wasn't. As always, 8 categories, 1 through 5. Let's start with comfort of grip. It has rubber grips. It's a small gun. And when I saw this gun, my first thought was, I'm not going to like it. As usual, I was wrong. This gun was really comfortable to hold and shoot. I gave it a 4, above average.
Well, surprisingly, I guess, him giving it a 4, I'm actually not going to give it a 3 or a 4, because when I was holding it, for some reason, on the range, it took me longer to adjust, especially my first shot. To get it to feel comfortable in my hands. It almost felt a little too small for me. Just holding it in the studio, I liked the rubber grips. They're very comfy. I like the grooves right here. But when on the range, I just couldn't find that comfort zone, or it took a while to get to that point. So I actually gave it a 2 for that reason.
Well, let's talk about the sights. This is a small carry gun. It doesn't really have sights. It has a really small front blade sight, and then the grooves that are put in the top of the frame. So they worked really well, but they need some color on that front blade. And so if you get this gun, I highly recommend you can do this yourself. Get some fluorescent paint and put something on there, because otherwise it just blacks out. And if in broad daylight, it works okay, but otherwise you can't really see. And if you are going to use the sights, they need to be usable. So I actually didn't like this part about the gun. I gave it a 2.
Having only got to shoot this gun in daylight, I didn't necessarily find it a problem. In fact, it kind of did meet my expectations of it's a tiny carry gun. The sights aren't going to be 3-watt dights. Wow, I speak English very goodly. The sights aren't 3 white dots. They're not going to be something spectacular. It's a tiny gun meant to be concealed. So it met my expectations of a tiny carry gun. So I gave it a 3.
Well, let's talk about the trigger. This surprised me to no end. I liked the trigger on this Taurus a lot. Single action was really clean, and the double action was great. I really liked it. I gave it a 4, and that has nothing to do with just for the price. I gave it a 4 just compared to other revolvers I've shot. It's above average. I liked it a lot.
For me, shooting this gun, I hate to keep saying it met my expectations. I don't know. It just sounds a little
No, that's
snobbish
good.
to
That's
me.
better than most of your
Yeah.
dates.
This is the internet we're talking to right now.
Isn't that where you... Never mind.
The trigger on this gun for me just seemed average. It seemed industry standard, what I would expect in a gun, or in even a tiny gun, or any revolver for that matter. It seemed to coincide with what I'm used to, with what I expect. So just 3 out of 5.
Let's talk about perceived recoil. It didn't have a lot of recoil for me, but we had a half dozen people shoot this, including a lady in her 60s. We'll be really kind here. She doesn't like shooting anything other than 22s, and she was delighted with this gun. In fact, Taurus owes us. We did a review on this gun, and we sold 2 of them while we were doing the review, shooting. And a lot of it was recoil. I'm giving it a 4.
I would have to agree that the recoil was pleasant, or the lack thereof, I guess. Where it is a tiny gun, and I've shot tiny guns before, and again, the shorter, there's less to compensate, yada yada, and they were horrible. I hated them, or I really disliked them.
Mm-hmm.
But this one didn't have that. This one had practically no recoil, and so I'm also going to give it a 4.
All right, let's talk about accuracy. One of the things that really impressed me was taking it out to the 10-yard 5-plate knockdown drill and doing the hostage target at 10 yards. It was easy to shoot. It hit what we were aiming. It was tight groups on the paper. The other people that shot it that weren't on camera, we had a lady that did that 5-plate knockdown drill 3 times in a row and just mowed through it, 15 up, 15 down, and then said she was keeping this one. She's probably waiting on the other side of the camera as soon as we step out to take it. It was accurate. I'm really impressed and happy with it. I gave it a 4.
When it comes to accuracy for me, I don't know, shooting revolvers versus shooting other types of guns, I do have a different expectation for it, but it's not necessarily a negative expectation. It's just, it's a revolver. It's going to shoot differently. It's going to have a different feel. And in shooting this gun, I felt that it met my expectations for a revolver. I didn't necessarily shoot it as well as some other revolvers that I've shot in the past, but I want to chalk that up to user error. Again, I had an expectation. I got a little cocky. wasn't paying attention and just decided like, yeah, I'm awesome, bam, bam, bam. No, I'm not. So I'm just gonna give it a 3 for accuracy.
Well, let's talk about ease of reload. This may not be as big a factor with a revolver. I'm just giving it industry standard 3. You push the button, the cylinder swings open.
One thing I like about semi-autos, as opposed to revolvers, is they do actually have a magazine that's easy to just drop and do another one. Having to I'm not good with the speed loaders. Again, haven't had a lot of experience with them. But if I were to have to load this one by one, I wouldn't choose it as a weapon to use in any kind of combat or fight or flight situation or whatever. I would want something a little bit more easy. So I did, for that reason, give it a 2.
Well, let's talk about reliability. It did exactly what it was supposed to. It worked every time. Easy, clean. I gave it a 4, and I realize it's kind of subjective with reliability. When you're doing a limited take, it could be a 3, 4, or 5, and you're just kind of going on perception and prior knowledge from having shot the gun before and after. But 0 problems. Ran clean. This particular one, I have a friend who has the revolver as well, and he had a couple issues with his. The timing, the lockup wasn't quite right. This one worked perfect, so I gave it a 4.
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes our reviews unique, is because you do have prior knowledge. You have shot more rounds through it. You have it again. It's not just like, for me, this is my first time up, so I could see people being like, "Well, you've only shot it one time. You can't rate it on that."
Right.
But you've shot it more than that, so you can be like, "Hey, I've done this more than her, and this is what I gotta say." So I think it works. But that being said, being my first time shooting it, it met my expectation. It fired like a revolver. I expected it would. And reliability-wise, yeah, 3.
Let's talk about ease of maintenance and cleaning. Industry standard for what's acceptable with a revolver, sometimes it's not easy to do. It catches a little bit, the lever's a little bit off, not lined up as clean, where it just smooth, easy function. And this one was actually above average for that. It was slick and very hassle-free. No double takes. It was a breeze to reload and clean almost without looking at it.
If I'm new to shooting a gun, I don't want there to be a lot of extra pieces. And with this gun, there isn't. It just, as long as you push the button and pop it out, and then with the ejector rod, just to make sure that, and it's all connected. Nothing comes out. There's no pieces. So, but again, it's a revolver, so I don't expect there to be a lot of pieces. So for that reason,
if there is, you're doing it wrong.
So for that reason, I gave it a 4.
Well, let's do the hard part, math. We're going to add up the scores. Luckily for you, our viewers, we've done it for you. I gave it a 29.
I ended up giving it a 24.
These guns retail for $269. I think they list higher than that, but this is, you're going to find them at gun shows and stuff.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you enjoyed this video, point those crosshairs at the like button down below. And make sure to stay tuned for more reviews coming soon. See you then.
If you didn't like the show, screw you.
That's not gonna get us subscribers!
It might. Sometimes controversial works better.